Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341. It's broadcasting live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian, Telesol, Just a Touch, and UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Mark Auto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu pickups and Chevy vehicles. Mark Ghana, with you for the long run. Coming up in this edition,
we the unions here, we will not allow, led by Guta, we will not allow any foreigner to sell in our market.
Traders in the national capital kick against government's decision to suspend the deadline again for removing foreigners from Ghana's retail markets. We'll hear from them. IGP David Asante appeared to hints of recruiting more university graduates and women into the police service as part of fresh sweeping measures to cure waning professionalism in the service.
For me, even if we raise the bar higher for intake of policemen, I think it's also going to help us.
Funeral rites for the late Vice President Kwesi Amissah underway. We are live at the Accra International Conference Center as many file past his body to pay their last respects. We'll hear from some of them on how they want him to be remembered.
But it was our wish that he would live to lead our party.
I wish that the country will remember him by making sure that children get good education.
I prefer an institutional arrangement. Keep his legacy going.
And also in sports.
Well, Ghana Arm Wrestling and is happening here in Accra, Ghana. The Arm Wrestling Federation boss is hopeful of a host and win at this year's championship, which begins today at the Accra Stadium.
All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Now, traders in the national capital are kicking against the Trade Ministry's decision to suspend the deadline again for removing foreigners from Ghana's retail markets. The suspension comes barely 2 weeks after government, in a statement, threatened to take legal action against non-Ghanaians who do not leave the retail markets by July 27th. This decision was prompted by threats by some Ghanaian retailers who vowed to close down shops operated by non-Ghanaians if the government does not stop them from establishing retail businesses. But today, the ministry says it will not carry out its plan to ban the foreign retailers, explaining that the suspension is to help them intensify sensitization and education in the domestic retail trade sector. And already, some traders are infuriated with the ministry's decision. Listen.
It's rather unfortunate we have the law, the GIPC law 2013, the Act 856, that prohibits foreigners from selling in the market. Nobody is saying they should leave our country. We are not saying foreigners should leave our country. All we are saying is the market. Selling in the market is the prerogative of Ghanaians only. Petty trading is for Ghanaians only. And with the kind of thing that they are doing in the market, you'll be worried about the kind of thing that they are doing. See, they have show glasses, which they sell, fake phones. They wholesale it to us and they sit on these same show glasses and they retail it to us. How do you expect the Ghanaian to sell? We, the unions here, we will not allow, led by Guta, we will not allow any foreigner to sell in our market.
Nigerians are foreigners, they are about 4 million foreigners. It was all done here, there. And then you don't know. It's also with them. Long, what's it 27 deadline? I don't know what is our day. Yeah, the Bejuma. 27 years, the Bejuma, Corona, the Abba. Deputy Minister, no guy or some money. The Bejuma, long years to use law. Ghana Muti law, and a young children. It's a law number, men for you.
So, I'm Amra, you more Ghana. No more foreigners, no GBB free and Sama. Omubeji, only a presidential seat. Our Ghana, and on baby elections, so our Ghana, and my summer make a trauma. Because Bana or Mobano, or mobile with them, or more GBB, the free and Sama Ghana. This is penny for now for money, see for ma. Omubasa G seat, free and Sam.
Some traders there who've been interacting with us, but we'll get on the phone line shortly and speak to Deputy Trade Minister Carlos Ahenkra on this U10 indecision. We'll get to hear from them and get more explanation on what really this decision is about. But away from that, the minority has described as terrible the new agreement on the controversial Ameri power deal laid before Parliament last night. They say the deal will make Ghana pay double the amount for the original contract to Ameri. The Energy Minister laid the agreement on the floor yesterday, seeking a revision of the original $510 million deal agreement signed by the Mahama administration. According to the document laid in Parliament, government will make a savings of $504 million on the new deal. But minority spokesperson on energy, Adams Mutawakilu, is disputing this. He says the new deal will rather make Ghana lose money and the old deal should have been allowed to stay.
There are a lot of big questions for the minister to come and answer. Big. If not, this agreement will be much worse. They say worse is worse. This will be the terrible worse. Very, very worse.
Why do you say so?
They are
usually, it's the ordinary consumer that is being looked at. The expectation that this will give us some savings.
I have read the agreement. The minister is talking of some savings. I have a different view. His approach is totally different. And we need to reconcile when he comes. Let you know that the costs, as they indicated, will be about twice what Ameri was claiming. It will be about twice.
But do you agree with the principle in terms of the push for a revision, or you think the old deal should have been made?
We believe that the old deal was perfect, and that's why Attorney General and Minister of Justice herself vindicated Ameri in respect to the agreement. We believe that the old deal was perfect. They said it was worse. If they claim that this is worse, they are bringing a terrible deal if the minister is not able to convince us. They must convince us. Because he indicated in the report that there will be some savings of $405.67 million. I have a different view, and I'll put him to test.
And
Adams Mutawakilu is the minority spokesperson on mines and energy. But my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gapo has been looking at this new agreement and joins us on the phone. So Joseph, apart from the $405 million that government is expected to save, what else is in there?
From the reading of the document, it appears another company is being brought in to manage the plants apart from Ameri. So let me just quote page 4 of the document. It says, the ministry has therefore established a new contractual framework safeguarding the generation of power and the continuous proper operation and maintenance of the plant by an experienced company. And the name of the company is Miscellaneous International Trading Company AG for a 15-year term. That's the indication. And per the justification that government gives, government says that this new company that's been brought in has accepted to pay $52 million, which is due Ameri on behalf of government of Ghana. So they're paying them that money. The document again says that government will pay another $39 million to Ameri apart from the $52 million that Miscellaneous company is paying to Ameri as a way to get the new company to take up the said management of the plant. And per the additional details that are given, there is a cost saving. First of all, the document claims that there is a waiver of a $52 million amount which is due Ameri, which is a huge financial burden which was on the government of Ghana, which is actually being taken off. And as well, to quote again from the document directly, says the cost savings of $405.067 million over the period of the amendment, as well as the provision of $10 million bank guarantee, which is part of the old agreement, is an indication that this is something that would be a better deal for Ghana compared to what was originally signed with Ameri.
Of course, we'll get to delve deeper into that document in our subsequent bulletins. But Joseph, just quickly before you go, what else is happening in Parliament?
So we're expecting a meeting of the Mines and Energy Committee as far as this particular agreement is concerned, and then they are expected to bring back a report for approval before then the House goes on break this coming Saturday. As well, the House has been considering the Ghana Integrated Bauxite, Aluminium and Authority Bill. You would recall that was mentioned in the midterm budget review, which we understand would eventually be approved before the House rises again. And as well, the House will be looking at the various taxes when it comes to luxury vehicles and VAT amendment bill as the budget review. before the close of day today.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku Gakpo. Now, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apietu, has hinted that the police may soon set a first degree as the minimum qualification for recruitment into the service. This is part of new strategies being discussed to cure the perceived lack of professionalism in the service. The police has in recent times been in the news for the bad reasons, that is, from the shooting to death of 7 youth in Kumasi to the accidental killing of a bullion van driver. Speaking to Kojo Yangsen, Mr. Apietu says recruiting better educated officers will help deal with the current challenges in the service.
And it is for us to maybe start being proactive and make sure we do things differently and embrace the community policing, concept.
What needs to be done differently? You've talked about community policing.
First of all, I think in our transformation agenda, we have listed certain things that we think we must revamp. Training, and retraining of our officers constantly on the job. And we must also, the bad apples must be fired because they are dangerous. Imagine we had 4-year degree holders only in the police service. Won't this service change? It will. Definitely going to be a huge change in the service. So for me, even if we raise the bar higher for the intake of policemen, I think it's also going to help us.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. It didn't used to be SHS. Some time ago it was JHS, but I think it will be proper for us to keep on raising the bar higher.
The IGP also asked that the service will deploy more technology to ensure effective policing.
If every police officer is wearing a body cam, okay, it will even make the work of this commission very, very easy, because you are going to film everything around you, and that's going to be a proof of your conduct at the scene. So there are many more, but I'm just mentioning a few.
Inspector General of Police David Asante Apietu. Let's stay a while longer on the police, because the police officer caught on camera allegedly beating a woman at the East Legon branch of Midland Savings and Loans has been remanded by an Accra Circuit Court for pleading not guilty to a charge of assault. Frederick Amano was arrested last Friday after the video of the police brutality went viral on social media. The woman, Patience Osafo, was allegedly assaulted by the policeman for refusing to leave the banking hall. He was arraigned this morning. Our court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us on the line with more. So, Joseph, we understand there are some fresh details provided by the police prosecutors on how customers were treated at the bank. Tell us more.
So the first one we understand is that the woman actually went to the bank first, the financial institution, I must say, first on the 13th of July 2018. They attended to some customers, but they told her that because of network challenges, they couldn't process her request. So they asked her to come back another time. She returned on the 16th of July. She was told the same story. Then she went back the third time on the 19th. On that day, we are told she arrived at 7:30 a.m. She waited till the bank opened at 9 a.m. She was in a queue. Other customers were served. When it got to her turn, she was told to go and come back at 12. But she opted to rather wait at the bank up until 2 p.m. When the bank had attended to other officers, other persons who had come over. When it got to her turn, they told her that the network challenges were still persistent and they could not attend to her. She actually pleaded and asked that they allowed her to withdraw an amount of 105 cedis, begging that she wants to pay off her debt as well as feed the child that she was holding. But that was not granted by the court, and what happened subsequently was what we saw in that video that went viral.
Now, Joseph, clarify this for us. We know that in the caution statement, Mr. Frederick Amano pleaded guilty, but in court today, he pleaded not guilty. How come?
In fact, the police prosecutors mentioned in their narration of the facts of the case, they mentioned that he had admitted to the offense in the caution statement that was taken from him when he was picked up the first time. But subsequently, when the plea was taken in court, he indicated to the court that he's not guilty of the offense.
Now, away from this, Joseph, we understand the Supreme Court has given the Ghana Legal Council the green light to hold entrance examinations. Tell us more about it.
The court, in a unanimous decision, has ruled that the General Legal Council can't hold the exam slated for tomorrow. The reason being that you recall Parliament in March this year passed an LI that allows for entrance examination even though Professor Asari, a US-based Ghanaian lawyer, had argued that that law is unconstitutional because it was passed by Parliament long after the 6-month deadline that was given by the Supreme Court had elapsed. But the court disagreed with that opinion. I also stated that as far as it's concerned, the GLC stands to lose them more if it prevents the exam from taking place tomorrow. So for the students who are supposed to take the exam tomorrow, they are supposed to prepare and make themselves available for the exam to be administered.
Joseph Akable from the courts there. Now let's take a walk down the beaches because some fishermen in the country are kicking against the directive of the Fisheries Minister, Elizabeth Afolikwe, to collect plastics as alternative means of livelihood during the 1-month close season. Although government has justified the need for the close season, many fisherfolk along the country's coastlines insist it will leave them impoverished as they will have nothing to sustain them. Addressing MPs recently on the matter, Fisheries Minister Elizabeth Afolikwe says government has put in place alternative livelihoods for them during the close season.
To mitigate the negative impact of the close season, the following measures have been put in place. Alternative Livelihood Committee has helped select communities to implement alternative livelihood schemes. Example, collecting and processing of plastic for money. Landing beach committees are to use some fixed portions of the 53% of the premise floor margins meant for development to all fishers identified within their landing beach committees.
You heard there Fisheries Minister Elizabeth Afolikwe. However, some fishermen believe the directive is insulting. Some of them who spoke to Joy News at Jamestown says government should rather employ the unemployed youth.
Government should rather employ the unemployed youth to rather collect the plastic products they talk about. We are fishermen and not rubbish collectors.
Government does not respect us. How can we collect waste from the sea? We are fishermen. The canoe you see there is expensive. The economy is hard. The fishing season that has gone bad. That is our main concern. If government wants people to collect waste, there are unemployed youth. They should employ them to do that.
You heard there some fisher folk there interacting with Joy News. Now, people living in especially mining areas are faced with water bodies polluted with dangerous substances such as mercury. Those in rural parts of the country also battle with cattle for the same source of drinking water with imminent exposure to deadly germs. But that will soon be a thing of the past as the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has designed a filter that can sieve out not only heavy metals but also bacteria. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has been interacting with the lead scientist, Dr. Bright Kwachiewa of the Department of Physics.
He collaborated with the Technology Consultancy Center of the university to process the substance and combine with clay to produce what he calls zeolite nanopore filters. The filter is capable of producing bacteria and heavy metal-free water. Interestingly, the filters perform better than the ones already on the market, including imported ones.
Could not really pass any of the tests, the imported one. This is not to indict them, but in fact that is what we found. And then the one from TCC, like I've said, it failed the filtration rate. The filtration rate was low. And then the microorganisms were forming. The zeolite clay one improved the filtration rate, but not like the pot one, the one with the bigger pot on top. And then again, because we added trace quantities of very trace quantity, in fact ppb concentration of silver ions to it. So no microorganism was formed. And as you saw with the one Dr. Tamaklo was using, he has been using it for the past 5 to 6 years. And he's still using it, meaning that no mold had been forming. So it means microorganisms are inhibited. And then also the filtration rate, he is using it alone, so it's okay for him. But for a household, like I said, you need to add 1 or 2 more of the candles in order to meet the requirement, the volume of water required for a household of, let's say, 5. So that is what we found. That is what we found.
Dr. Kwachiewa is hopeful the filter will reduce cases of waterborne diseases, especially in rural homes. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
And that's what's for Tech Thursday. Still to come here on the Midday News, government's decision to implement double track policy faces several contradictions. We'll hear how the Kenyan situation, which has been touted by government, is totally different.
When in Kenya we talk about multi-track, we are referring to that change that students will have once they hit grade 6, when they are moving to junior secondary. Once they get to junior secondary.
In the face of mounting criticisms, many Ghanaians, including MPs and parents, are still confused about how the system works. We'll get to hear from them. And also, final funeral rites for the late Vice President Kwesi Arthur underway. We're live at the Accra International Conference Centre as many file past his body to pay their last respects. We'll hear from some of them on how they want him to be remembered.
I wish that he would live to lead our party.
I wish that the country will remember him by making sure that children get good education.
I prefer an institutional arrangement. Keep his legacy going.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pockets. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website, mackghana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
You're welcome back to the Midday News. Thanks for staying with us. Let's get the latest from the world of sports with Benedict Owusu.
Yes, Amefa, have you tried arm wrestling before?
Yeah, we can try now.
Oh, no, here. No, I'm asking if you've ever tried it before. Maybe in school, you played it with your friends.
Not at a professional level.
Okay, well, something big is happening here in Ghana, and it's the African Arm Wrestling Championship. It's just like the Africa Cup of Nations, and this time we are hosting it here in Ghana, and it's happening at the Accra Sports Stadium at the DJ Hathramani Hall. So if you make your way to the Accra Sports Stadium at this time, you definitely will see countries there participating in this year's arm wrestling competition. Well, 13 African countries are in town to compete for medals in various weight categories. Now, President of the Ghana Arm Wrestling Federation, that's Charles Osesibe, says Ghana's representatives, that's the Golden Arms, are ready to do host and win.
As organizers, we have done everything that we should be able to host Africa. So, yeah. Well, currently, 13 countries have submitted their list of players and officials, and we're expecting them in town from tomorrow. On Tuesday, the General Secretary for the World Arm Wrestling Federation will be in Ghana. And then beyond that, other officials will be coming. And then on Wednesday, we would have the Congress for Africa Arm Wrestling. We'll do the referee seminar. We'll do courtesy calls on the mayor of Accra, the minister, and all that. And then on Friday morning, we'll start with the left-arm battles. Saturday, we'll finish with the right-arm battles. And then we'll do other ceremonies, and we are done.
All right, so that's Charles Osesibe. He is president of the Ghana Arm Wrestling Federation. Since you've not done it at the professional level, what I will do is I'll take you to the Accra Stadium, so at least you see the pro how they do it. Okay, maybe I could learn from them. Benedict Owusu with the latest from the world of sports. Now, it's a busy and major route that connects motorists to many communities like Ayi Mensa, Ebri, Oyarefa, Dodoa, Pantang, among others. For a stretch of the road like this, you would expect that well-functioning traffic lights are installed to control the flow of vehicles. But the reality is all 3 traffic lights in the enclave do not work. As a result, accidents at the SDA intersection on the Medina-Ebri Highway are common. For Joy News Agenda, focusing on dysfunctional traffic lights, Beryl and Estina Richter visited the area and filed this report.
Call it a death zone. and you wouldn't be mistaken at all. Only the boldest drivers go through this Adenta SDA junction stretch. This is because traffic lights here have been defective for months, and accidents at the intersection are a daily ritual. The only time motorists and residents heave a sigh of relief is during rush hours in the morning and evening, when personnel from the Adenta MTTD direct and manage traffic at this place. Across the road is a school and a taxi rank. Also close by are shops and food vendors. A corn seller, Gifty Enchi, shares with Joy News the nightmare they have to live with as a result of the malfunctioning traffic lights.
It has brought a lot of problems. Accidents happen here frequently. School children cross this highway, and this makes the situation very serious.
Some residents here attribute the situation to a faulty electric pole in the area.
Recently, one of our guys here told us there's a problem at the ECG, one of their poles, where they tap the light from.
Beryl and Estina Richter's report read to you.
But it was our wish that he could live to lead our party.
I wish that the country will remember him by making sure that children get...
Voices of some Ghanaians who have thronged the Accra International Conference Centre to bid farewell to late Vice President Kwesi Emisartha, whose final funeral rites begins today. The former Bank of Ghana governor served in the PNDC administration through to becoming John Mahama's running mate and vice president. His unfortunate passing earlier this month sent shockwaves around the country, with many extolling his meek virtues. His mortal remains will be laid to rest later on Saturday after a state service at the Accra International Conference Centre. Now, as they file past him today, many are those who say he died too early. One of such is the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, who says it was his wish that Mr. Kwesi Emisartha leads the NDC someday.
He's gone with his humility, he's gone with his compassion, he's gone with his depth, appreciating economics and finance. The country will miss him. We should recognize that the state and President Nana Addo Dankwa have remained supportive of the family and the NDC to mourn him as a national hero and someone who has served this country in the highest capacity as acting President of the Republic. In fact, it was our wish that he could live to lead our party.
So you heard the minority leader Haruna Idrisu. Some others who've been interacting includes the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, who also has been speaking about it, and he's unhappy that the NDC has failed to use the death of Mr. Emisartha to unify the party.
I just pray that his death is able to do that. It's quite difficult, but I don't see even the party taking advantage of his sudden departure to make that in place, to put that in place. As at now, we should have been seeing the party together attending these funeral arrangements. I haven't seen that yet.
It's individual
It's just various organization groupings coming and going. I have not seen any call from the party for us to regroup and do a few things. The funeral is tomorrow, and we'll come here again. Definitely there will be an arrangement for the party to sit down. Then after that, what? You see, there should be some arrangement in place. And so his departure could go without any gain to the party. That is sad. It's like we're losing leadership as a party. NDC was known to have strong leadership, strong, very, very focused, visionary leadership. These days, we are like cut in pieces, and we're trying to pick the pieces together.
Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, now sister of the deceased, Laura Ofobike, says it will be the wish of her brother that the youth in Ghana are given quality education in his memory.
He was particularly concerned about the quality of education for young people, and he would want to be remembered as somebody who tried his best to do things the right way, with integrity. So I wish that the country will remember him by making sure that children get the good education.
You have a sister of the late Emisartha. Now let's head live to the Accra International Conference Centre, where my colleague Parker Wilson joins us. Parker, bring us up to speed on developments where you are as we speak.
Well, I can say that it's a solemn atmosphere here at the International Conference Centre. Thousands of Ghanaians have converged here to pay their last respect to the late Vice President, Pakwesi Bekwin, Mr. Arthur. From where I stand, I can see the big wigs of the NDC, including the General Secretary, Kofi Adams, the National Organizer, the Chairman, Potofi, and others all are here to pay their last respect to the former president. Again, some stalwarts of the party, that is Mr. Twahoy, Kwesi Ahoy, were also here. Now, the people I spoke to, they told me that they came here at 5 a.m., at 5 a.m. to just pay their last respect to the man because they believe that Ghana has lost a great person.
My colleague there, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, of course, will bring you more from the Accra International Conference Centre, where people file past the body of the late Vice President Kwesi Amisa Arthur. Maps, what's trending?
All right, hashtag rest in peace, Amisa Arthur is trending. And at Randy Yari 5 says, the Lord gives and he takes in due time. We had a silent Vice President, a loving daddy, and also a very intelligent man whose heart desires was peace and equity to all. And the last tweet I'm going to take is from at Austin Pong, who says, my condolence to the family of ex-VP Pakwesi Amisa Arthur. He really left a great legacy. Hashtag rest in peace, Amisa Arthur.
Indeed, may he rest in peace. And that's it for the Midday News. We must apologize for our inability to bring you the story of the mounting criticisms among many Ghanaians, including MPs and parents, on the double tracking system. I am Emefa Apau. Do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
I love my wife so much.